Hi, I'm Linda with this week's Savvy Saturday video tutorial for Spellbinders Paper Arts. This week I'm featuring one of Spellbinders' new lines, the Dies Delights. For my card today I'm using the Window 2 Die Delight along with the Fancy Frame Tags 2 and the Embossability The Lovely Lattice. I've pre-cut my dies today. I've cut, embossed and stenciled, and we'll come back to those, but first we're going to set the base for the card. I'm using some Kaisercraft pattern paper and I'm just going to emboss it with the embossing folder, running it through the green caliber. Now I'm going to sponge around the edges using a brown ink, just quickly sponging around, and I do just try to capture some of the pattern, highlight it with the sponging as you can see here, just lightly. Now I'm attaching a piece of the 1/2 inch Scorpel tape across the card at 4 centimeters to add some pleated seam binding. I always keep my card up on the tape roll so it doesn't stick to the mat. I find this easy when doing this technique. And I'm starting tucking a little bit under. I'll just turn it on an angle so you can see it. And it's very easy, you just push it down and pleat all the way across your card. It doesn't have to be perfect. Now that I've added that seam binding, I've used Scorpel tape and I'm attaching it to my card base. There we go. Right, we'll put that aside for now and we'll come back to the dies. As I said, I've cut, embossed and I'm about to stencil the dies. But I have to say I have used, and it's important with the Die Delights to use wax paper to put it in after your card, put your wax paper and then your die, because you'll see how easy it makes to take them out. To remove your wax, just a little pop under there, carefully. Okay. So I'm going to pop the card back into the die to stencil. It's easy, it just slides back in, you can feel it fit into the grooves. And now I'm going to show you, to me stenciling is one of the most important and fun parts. Just lightly add my colour. I've used a lighter colour, a straw or something like that across, down the edges. I just come in at the edges with a darker colour, just to add a little bit of depth. It makes it, to me it makes such a real difference, as you'll see in a minute. Okay, and I've also done that with the fancy framed tag. You can see this, the stenciling's added another dimension, and the darker colouring just gives it a bit more pop. To form the pattern underneath, I've kept the die, the negative die, and I just drew around the inside of it quickly and roughly, so I knew what size to cut out the card. And then I've just drawn the top roughly in here, sorry, to cut it out. I've pre-cut it here for the sake of time, and I have stamped an image from the Just Right Botanical Butterflies, coloured it in, and we're going to quickly just pop that on underneath the windows to create our background. I've glued the frame to the background and popped it up onto foam tape, which we're going to add to the card, centering it just above the seam binding, as such. And I've made a bow from the seam binding, a double bow, gluing that on just to the side with the beacon adhesives zip dry paper glue. It's very quick drying, which is great. And popping on a mulberry rose, little rose. Okay, I'll just put a little bit of pressure on that as it dries. Next we're going to pop the tag underneath using some foam tape. And lastly, I'm going to add some One Scrap bling. I've just cut off the portion that I need. Up in the top corner. And a little bit down here, down next to the window of the flower. I've finished off by adding a few more pearls to each corner, and I've cut out one of the tiny little butterflies from the botanical butterflies, coloured it with chalks, popped it onto the tag with a pearl. One of the things I love about the windows too is the way that the windows pop open. Just pop them up for you to see. Thank you for stopping by today. I hope that you're inspired by the projects that we're showing you over this week with the new D-Lite-Lights. Thank you.